know 2020 has been a shitty year for both of us. But with my friend Kathyrn, she has topped that. She has went through multiple crazy tragic events back to back that she is going to tell us in detail. She went through a very severe depression because of that and had a friend that cut her off because she just didn't want to deal. And then, in my opinion, that is fucked up. So hope y'all enjoy the episode. This podcast is being powered by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Mentally a Badass. My name is Justine, and today I have my friend Kathyrn with me today, and we are going to talk about her experience when she was going through a rough time for about 6 months. It's a really big emotional roller coaster, and we're going to talk about how she had a friend that actually dropped her because of that emotional roller coaster, which we know is really fucked up.
Yes.
So Kathyrn, let's go ahead and talk about that story. Just go ahead and relive that story that you told me about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So obviously I haven't had the greatest year. It all started back in July when my grandpa got sick and he passed away. And, he lived a great life. He was 89. But we were super close, so I took that loss super hard. And then a couple of months later, I was living with my boyfriend at the time. We were together for a year and a half, whatever. Thought we were getting married. That whole 9 yards when you're so in love with somebody. We had a humongous fight. And the next day, he was just like, I'm done. We sat in my bed. He cried about it. I cried about it. But then he told me, I don't have passion for our relationship anymore. And, I have things to change and I don't care enough to change them. And I was like, okay. And then he moved his shit out the next day. So it was kind of crazy because you go from living with somebody and seeing them every day. And then the next day is just gone. And so I ran away from my house now and I went and stayed with my mom while he was moving all of his stuff out. And we had very little communication. I was like, can we just please talk? Can we please talk in person? Can we? And he was like, yeah, we will. And then finally I was like, all right, well, I'm going back to New York next week to see him, or I'm going back to New York in 2 days to go see my family. So we have to now or never, we have to talk. And he was like, no, I don't have the courage to talk to you right now. And I was like, okay, well, can we talk when I get back from New York? And he was like, sure. So during that time, after the breakup, I was not good at all. And so I laid in my mom's bed for 2 days and barely could eat anything. And finally on the third day, she was like, all right, get up. We got to do something. I can't look at you anymore. Laying in my bed, not doing anything. And I was like, okay, fine. So we were shopping and, I burst out into tears and Home Goods. And she was like, well, what can I do to help you, make you feel better? And I was like, my ex never wanted a dog. I think I really want to get a dog. And she's like, okay, let's get a puppy right now. So I went online and found this breeder. I bought a puppy to say the least. And
puppy right here?
No, it's not
this puppy?
No, it's a different puppy.
Where's the other puppy? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got this puppy, and so then I went to New York for a week. Still no communication from my ex. It's fine. I get back a day or two later. I get this puppy, and she's really cute. She's a mini Aussie doodle. She's gonna be 20 pounds. She's gonna be fluffy, full of life. I named her Sammy, and so I get Sammy and I have her for 4 days, and then she's just nonstop vomiting, nonstop diarrhea, which when you see that in a puppy, it's so scary because they don't have all their shots yet. They don't have the best immune system. So I took her to the emergency vet. I was there until 11 or midnight, and they were like, okay, well, she has parvo. And if you don't know, parvo is a super deadly disease for puppies. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is exactly, but it's not good. And so sometimes they can fix it with enough medicine and like food and stuff like that. Like puppies can survive it. And so she's at the overnight vet. The next day, I have to go back to the emergency vet at like 6 a.m. and transfer her to another vet. And so I go to that other vet and they're like, all right, well, we have to hold her overnight. And I was like, okay. So then I go home, I sleep because I'm exhausted, and I go and pick her up the next day. And so she still wasn't like 100%. Like she was lethargic. She was just still not eating. And so I am like holding this sick puppy in my hands. And then all of a sudden I get a text message from my friend of a screenshot of Facebook saying my ex is in a new relationship with somebody else.
God. Worst timing.
And so it was the worst timing ever. And so that day was awful. And so the next day, the puppy was still not doing good. She was, vomiting, whatnot. So I had to bring her back to the emergency vet. And so there they kept her another day or so. And so the day after that, they called me and they're like, look, we're going to have to keep her until like next Wednesday. This was it was like a week. Like they had to keep her for a week. And there's no chance that she's going to survive. So like, how do you make that decision that like you have to put that puppy down? Like it was the worst decision I think I've ever had to like make in my life.
Especially with everything happening. It's like,
yeah. And so I went with my dad to the vet, and it was, honestly, it was the worst. Like I said, it was the worst decision I've ever had to make, because it's either going to cost me hundreds and thousands of dollars to save this dog that I've grown so close to, and I only had her for 5 days.
Wow.
Or it was just put her, send her to a happier place. And it's like, how do you do that? And so with talking to my dad and talking with my mom, they're like, she's going to be better off, she's going to be miserable for the next 10 days and you don't know if she's going to survive it or not. And like I said, the worst decision I've ever had to make. I had to go to the vet, literally holding her. They put the puppy down.
And that's like horrible to watch too. I had my dog had to be put down in front of me, and it's extremely emotional.
Awful. Well, like, have you seen like all those Facebook things where it's like that dog is you're gonna be the last person that dog ever sees?
Yeah.
And that's all I kept thinking about. I'm like, this poor puppy has no clue what's about to happen, and like she's only like known me for like these 5 days, and it was awful. So I'm sitting there holding her, like sobbing. Like I can't even tell you, like the sobs that were coming out of me were just like so hard and sad.
Yeah.
It was awful. I think like the puppy dying was worse than my breakup.
Well, I agree I can see that, because it's like I feel like it's different, like knowing you don't have any access to that being anymore. Like even though it's a very sad thing with you and your ex, and you guys dated a while, and like you still know that he's alive and well.
Yeah.
It's just sad knowing that another living being is not well.
I know, and it's just like I just felt like it wasn't fair. Like the breeder, I'm not placing blame, but like the breeder probably gave me that puppy sick. Like that's all. It's probably what happened.
There's no lemon things for like dogs.
It's just like, and so I feel like that dog just didn't get a chance to like live its life, and here I am already heartbroken over one thing, and now I'm heartbroken about a second thing, and I was like,
so technically 3 days.
Distraught. Yeah.
3 days. Yeah.
I was distraught. Like so. The puppy thing was bad, and so at that point in time, I'd already, I was laying in bed, I wouldn't get up, I wouldn't eat, and it got kind of like 10 times worse. So that's when I decided that it was time to, maybe seek help. And so I actually started going to therapy. It was through an app called not Headspace, what's it called? I don't know. There's some app. I like Googled it before I knew that Disney had benefits that like you didn't have to pay for it. So I like shelled out like $200 to talk to a therapist.
I think I know where you're talking. Like there's these apps out there that you can have access to therapists.
Yeah, so I went to her. She was super nice, pretty helpful. And so, then I start to get quote unquote better. And I still really, really wanted a dog. Oh, and this is on top of all of this, I'm not working. I'm furloughed at the time. So I have literally no job and no source of income besides unemployment.
Yeah, and then also you don't have much of a distraction either.
No.
So it's just, and also like you live alone too.
Yeah.
So I cannot live alone. I wanted to at one point and I realized it gets lonely.
Oh my God. I love it. So I didn't at first, I couldn't sleep. It was kind of sad to be here. So I was just going out, any way I could get out of this house, I was getting out of this house. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind living by myself. I actually find it comforting.
Yeah. So moving on. So next part of your rainy 6 months.
Yeah. And so, how do I want to put this? So I wouldn't have gotten to the place I am here today without my friends. And so I have amazing friends. I have amazing family. During this time, I can't even tell you how supportive most of them were.
Oh, most.
This
is when the tea comes.
Yeah, so I was playing on this softball team, and I became really fast friends with this girl, Kelly. And so she was there for me throughout, my whole breakup, the whole puppy thing, all there for after. We used to have wine nights, we used to go out, we used to just, you have a real friend when you can just sit and do nothing.
Oh yeah.
And so we got really close really fast. And it's sad because, I just I don't know. I can't, oh God. So I'll get on to that. So one day I was texting Kelly. It was a Sunday night and Kelly was going to move in with me because I had an extra room open. It was literally empty. And I was living by myself, and so we were talking about how excited we were to move in with each other. And she was like, oh, hey, by the way, are you going to go to Kitty's tonight? And I was like, no, I'm not going to go to Kitty's tonight. I'm already laying in my bed, I'm tired.
Which is a bar, by the way.
People
who don't know what Kitty's
is. That's a good point.
It's a bar.
And I was like, no, I'm just going to stay home. And she was like, I was like, you got to get used to this. It's a lot of me not going out when we live together. And it's a lot of sitting at home and drinking wine. She was like, oh, I can't.
That's totally me
too.
She
was like, oh, I can't wait. And I was like, well, let's do a wine night tomorrow. And she was like, perfect. And so the next morning, she'd send me a text because we were talking about our New Year's plan. So she sent me a text around 11. I didn't answer because I was asleep. And so the next morning, I get on my work computer, I sign in, it's 9:30, I get a call from my friend. And I was like, this is weird, he never calls me, what does he want, kinda? And so I answered the phone, and I answered it like such an asshole. I was like, yo, what's up? And he was like, well, I don't know how to tell you this, I don't know how to tell you this. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know how to tell you this, I don't know how to tell you this. I was like, well, you have to tell me. I was like, whatever you're doing, just fucking tell me. And he was like, Kelly died last night. And that was honestly, I still get, emotional thinking about it because it's not fair for a 26-year-old to be taken so soon. She had so much life to live, and she made a stupid mistake. She drove home after being at a bar, and she paid the ultimate price for it. And, I miss her every day, and I just, wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
For something like that to happen.
So much stuff just back to back to back.
Yeah, and it's like an ocean. I just felt after that moment, and I hate to make it about me because it should have been about Kelly at that time, but there was just I was almost being in the ocean and you're just getting slammed down by waves over and over and over again. And it was awful. That was probably the most awful time in my life. Because how do you move forward after that when you and I still get the urge to text her all the time. Just the other day I'm like, oh yeah, I think Kelly would think that was funny. And then I'd be like, oh shit, I can't text Kelly. It's awful.
How long ago was that?
She passed away on December 28th.
This was all in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so we're still in 2020.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I feel like...
it just sucks because we were talking about New Year's plans. We were talking about, our future, living together, and it's just like...
Yeah, I know. When I came in today and you were showing me your new place, and I was like, oh, this is so nice. Like, yeah. And then you're like, yeah, I was supposed to have a roomie, but she died. I'm like,
I know. I say it so nonchalantly, but like, I should work better on my articulation.
You're fine. I was just like, I didn't know that was part of the story. So I was like, when I came over, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that's just definitely not easy, like Christmas dinner or like, it was roommate, but
she passed away. It was awful. I still miss her so much. Like, I wish she was around. Like I said, I just don't think it was fair.
It's for both sides. Yeah, both sides. I mean,
it's not. She made a
stupid
mistake.
Drove drunk.
Yeah, and we need her, and I hate that she's not around. I wish she was, because all of our friend group has, like, whatever we've been doing these past couple of months, she would have loved.
Yeah, I'm sure she's watching down on it.
I always hope that. So yeah, it's been a tough year, but
2020
after that, I mean, things kind of started to get better. And so, like I said, I met Kelly playing on this one softball team. They were a new team, and this is where, like, the friends start coming in. So I had a new, when I was still with my ex, I introduced him to this group of friends that I played softball with. And, most of them are great people. I do think they're all great people, but some more than others. Anyway, so they were not playing this season, hence why I was playing softball with Kelly and her team.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that season that ended in November, my team wanted to come back and play in December, or when it was January. It's called the Polar Bear League, so it was December or January to March or whatever. And so I go back to this old team. My ex is not allowed to play with us because obviously that would be awkward, just to be like, hey, how you doing? Haven't talked to you in 6 months.
Get a ball and just whack.
Yeah. So I tried my hardest to be engaged with them and be and have fun, but all of them are basically in relationships. They're all still friends with my ex, or most of them.
So awkward.
Most of them were still friends with my ex, and they had the whole I'm not gonna pick sides and whatever. But I get it. I don't want people to choose sides. I wish me and my ex just talked it out so we were able to be in the same room together, because I don't think of myself as somebody that's hard to get along with. I really don't. I really don't. I know we had a shitty breakup.
Yeah.
And I know you started dating somebody 2 weeks later. But if we had just sat and talked about it, I'm sure we could have found some middle ground. But he was too much of a bitch to do it anyway. So I'm too nervous. I have no courage to face you. I was
crazy.
You're so he's so
he's
dumb.
such a pussy.
He is. He's a bitch.
That
was the one thing. I'm too nervous to face.
I love how he's so honest about that. A lot of people would just be weird, but he was
it was a cop out.
He was straight up to listen, I am a pussy and I am scared and I can't do this.
I just don't have the courage to face you right now.
Be like, listen,
that's what he sent me
you have the courage to fly. Take him to Happily Ever After and be like, listen, you got the courage to fly, okay? And then we'll go talk about it.
Seriously, it was just
people are just really bad at hard conversations.
Yeah, and that's fun. If you're not into I'm not into confrontation. I'll do it.
Conversation.
Oh, confrontation. But the same thing. If we were in the same room, it would have been probably a confrontation because we were at odds. I thought we shouldn't have broken up. I thought whatever we had was repairable. He didn't. It's just black and white. Whatever. But to not have a conversation with somebody that you supposedly loved and you supposedly
it's kind of pathetic.
It's pathetic. Just grow some balls and do it.
He's scared of you.
Well, I said, I think he was just looking for an out, which is fine. Like, if you wanted to end our relationship, end it. Say, I just don't think this is going anywhere. Yeah. I would have had more, like, I met somebody else. I would have had more respect for that than just blaming me for everything, saying that he didn't have passion for our relationship and shit like that. And then dating somebody 2 weeks later, like, it looks like he was cheating. I don't know if he did or not.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
I have no evidence. You
don't know what happened on the other. Yeah, I have me with 2 different guys, literally same exact thing.
Yeah, it's just like, if you're dating 2 weeks, and people are commenting on the Facebook post, like, finally. Like, what do you mean fucking finally? Like, we just broke up 2 weeks ago.
Wait. People comment on his post?
Yeah, so that's how I found out they got into a relationship together on Facebook, and people were literally commenting on the post, finally. I literally wanted to rage text him.
I kind of wish this was video so you can see my face right now. Oh my God. Like, finally. I would have been like,
fine, I know, like, finally,
you mean
yes.
Finally,
after we broke up 2 weeks ago. Like,
that whole 2 weeks was just like...
So he was talking to somebody
He clearly was talking to her.
I can't prove it, whatever.
You can't prove it, but it's like, you're suspicious.
There's a reason I call him Lord Voldemort for a reason.
Yeah. Hi, y'all. I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. The best way for my podcast to grow is for you guys to share my podcast to your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, or a random person on the street, or whoever that had ears that can listen to audio. That is how we grow. Leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts is also very helpful as well. Lastly, you totally do not have to do this, but if you want to support my dream of being a content creator full-time, you could donate as low as $1 through listener support that is linked in my podcast bio. Alrighty, I'm done here. Now let's continue the rest of the episode.
Yeah, so as the weeks went on, like, I just started feeling weird because I knew all of the guys were still friends with my ex. And, like, I don't want to tell people who or who not to be friends with, but, like, at the same time, like, you know the struggle that I've been going through. Like, it's not a big secret. Like, I've been telling everybody I'm struggling because I feel like it's better to talk about it than just, like, hold it all in. And so it was like, they were just trying to hide the fact that they were still, like, hanging out with him and doing all this stuff with him. But I knew, like, I'm not stupid, like, I know. And so I started to pull away from them as friends because I was just like, this is not what I need. I don't want to hear your funny anecdotes about my ex, like, nothing. I don't want to hear a story. I don't want to know how he's doing. I don't care. And so this one girl who I was, like, really good friends with, like, I thought she was going to be in my wedding one day, like, we were good friends. I have told her, like, everything up to this point, like, that I was struggling. You know, she was one of the first people I called when Kelly died. Like, I don't open up to, like, I mean, I do. Who am I kidding? I'm an open book, but, but, like, you know, like, you just have, like, there's people you're closer to than others, and she was somebody that I thought I was really close to. And so one night, well, before that, she, like, yelled at me, saying that, like, she didn't yell at me, it was over text, but she was like,
you felt it, you felt the energy.
I felt the animosity, but she was, like, telling me that, you know, it's not fair that you're pulling away, like, you know, you're better friends with this other group than you are with us, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing that, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, I know I'm not doing that thing, but, like, I can't sit around with everybody when I know they're friends with my ex, like, I just can't do it, like, I don't want to tell people to pick a side, but, like, you should pick my side. It's so bad.
I don't want to tell people to pick a side, but you should pick my side.
You should pick my side. Like, a-hole.
That's
like,
quoted.
That sounds so bad.
That should be a t-shirt.
But, like, you know what I mean? Why did you not get, like, this guy hurt me and you should be around? And, like, that was just my opinion. Like,
yeah,
it's not, like, anybody else can have their opinion. Like I said, I don't want to tell people who they can and cannot be friends with
but they have to be friends with you. I'm just kidding.
I would prefer if they were friends with me.
I'm just messing with you.
I can't tell people who not to be friends with, but, like, at the same time, it bothered me that they were friends with them.
Yeah.
It did. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it. And it was hard, like, because I've just been going through all these things, and like the last
with
person
everything,
I want to hear about is my ex doing great. Like, I don't want him to do great. Like, that sounds so mean, but I don't.
Have you heard the Olivia Rodrigo album?
Like, I want him to be miserable without me. No, I don't. I only listen to country music or Hamilton.
Really? I had no idea you were a country.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What? I didn't learn about
Or Hamilton.
Really? I know.
It's my two go-tos.
I had no idea. Wait, so you only listen to country, really?
Yeah, I only listen to country music. Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm glad we're not roommates because I blast a lot of ghetto music.
Or it's summer hits of the 2000s. It's like my go-to.
No, I had no idea.
Alexa playlist.
I had no idea that was like your music taste. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm learning a lot about you today.
I'm a very simple girl.
Oh, wow.
So where was I? So whatever. So I'm telling this girl everything, and she like basically chastised me for not like being friends with the group or whatever. So I really try to make an effort. And so I'm making an effort this one week. Like I go out with them after. I'm trying to be all buddy-buddy with them. I'm like high-fiving everybody in the dugout, whatever. So the next week, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to be there. I'm trying to be present. I'm trying to have fun with all of them. And I had just sprained my ankle, so I was playing the catcher position. Mm-hmm. So I'm behind home plate. I'm talking with the umpire. I like look in the stands right behind me, and there's some guy with his hood up, his earbuds in, like texting on the phone. And I was like, holy fucking shit, that's my ex.
Wait, so he had his hood up?
He had his hood up, headphones in, on
Did he
his
have glasses?
No.
Because that would have been great.
And so I'm looking, and I'm like, there's just no way. I was like, why would he come here? Why would he come to this game? So I'm like friends with the umpire, so I say, is that who I think it is? Or I was like, is that blah, blah, blah? And he was like, I think it is. And I was like, well, can you check? And he was like, yeah, I'll check. And he was like, do you want me to check right now? And it was like during the inning. I was like, no. Check in between innings. Like, I'm up to bat next when we get up. And he was like, okay. So then I go back in the dugout. I'm like watching the umpire go to my ex, and they start chatting. I was like, holy fucking shit, it is him. Like, why is he here? Why is he here? Like, it was like 3 weeks after Kelly died. Like, I'm already feeling like weird about hanging out with these people. Like, whatever. And so I'm up to bat. Roderick, or the umpire looks at me and was like, yeah, it's him. And so I turned to everybody in the dugout. I was like, who the fuck invited him?
Yeah.
And they're all looking at me like, oh no, oh no, what does she mean? And so I get up, I fucking rocked one right into right center. I get a home run, and then I go out into left field, and I have a fucking meltdown. Complete meltdown. I'm like hysterically crying. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, what is happening? So I'm having a full-on fucking meltdown. And so my friend John, my one guy friend comes out. We're super close. And he was like, what's the matter? And I was like, why the fuck is he here? Why is he here? And then this other guy's girlfriend comes out, and she's like, it's okay. It's really okay. I told him to leave. It's fine. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm still having a panic attack. Like, I'm having a full-on, like, anxiety, like, panic attack. And then the girl who's supposed to be my good friend comes out. She was like, why are you doing this? Like, who cares? You just hit a home run. And I'm, like, looking at her. I'm like, I don't fucking care that I just hit a home run. Like, this is my life. I don't give a shit about softball. And so I was just so, and I shouldn't say this, but at the time I was just so, like, I felt so betrayed that, like, nobody told me he was coming. That was the first thing. Like,
yeah.
I've been going through it. Like, I was not good emotionally. I was not good mentally. So I felt super betrayed. I was just mentally exhausted. I was sad. Like, all of these emotions are coming out right then and there. And so I just looked at my friend and I was like, I'm leaving. So I left the team. Haven't looked back since. Like, it was just a really bad day. And it's like, I hate that he showed up and like made me feel that way, but he did, and he got the better of me, but I was just not emotionally ready for it.
Yeah.
And so after that, I like talked to a few of the people that were on the team, and I was like, look, I'm sorry I had a meltdown, but you know, I just don't understand why. Like, I'm just not in a good place. Why would he show up? Why is he doing this? Like, you know what I mean? And a couple of them understood it. A couple of them didn't. And one of them being that girl that I was very close to. And she didn't give me a reason why. We never talked about it. She just unfollowed me from all forms of social media.
So she didn't like, she just unfollowed you? Like, she just like dropped the gun?
So she said, why do you care? You just hit a home run. Okay. Well,
clearly she hasn't been what you went through, but
I don't give a fucking shit about that. So fast forward, I leave the game, I leave the team, I don't come back. We don't talk, and then like a week later, she unfollows me on like everything. Everything. Like down to, so like Facebook, defriended me on Facebook, deletes me off Snapchat, deletes me off Instagram. Like even
apparently your watch too.
I didn't know that we followed each other's activity.
Wait, so
on our Apple Watch.
Activity? How did you do
this?
She
deleted me off of her activity on her Apple Watch. Like that is how much
I didn't know
she wanted to just be like, fuck you.
That's
so I got the
fuck
message
you.
loud and clear, like, you don't want to be my friend, that's fine.
Like, that's crazy. It's like, oh, how dare you go through a hard time? Like,
right.
I'm gonna like block you on everything. Like, you're so toxic. Like, what?
Yeah, and it's like her husband was playing softball with my ex, like,
oh, she's the one with the husband of like 14 years, right?
Yeah, so she's no clue.
So she has like a pretty, I mean, I don't know her life, obviously. I don't know her. But I just feel like there's people out there who just have a typical, like, who are just blessed with a pretty simple life.
She has a superiority complex, too. Like, she has a superiority complex. Like, I don't know if I'm saying that right. But she has to be, like, I think she thinks she's better than other people. Ugh. And it's just, like, because she's been with the same person for 14 years and, you know, whatever. Like, I felt like she wasn't, I don't know.
Those are the people who act like that are the people that you know that didn't have to go through anything so tragic.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't know her, just putting that out there. But it's true. Like, I mean, there's people like in my life who I felt like had a pretty stable upbringing.
And that was me too. Like, I had a stable upbringing.
Yeah.
Nothing really bad has ever happened to me.
Oh my god, my childhood is
I
tragic.
had an easy childhood. All I did was play fucking softball.
I cried a lot.
Went to college. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I had my fair share of fights with my mom and dad and friends and all that bullshit. But like, I had a pretty, like, to be fair, I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
And then, like, this has been like the worst year of my life, and I don't know, like, I feel like I've come out strong from it, and it's just hard because, you know, like you said, people who haven't been through things don't really know.
They don't get it. They don't understand it.
They tell you to tell you to get over it, and it's just like, but I just can't, like, I'm trying really hard to get over it, like, I'm talking to a therapist, I'm trying to do this, like,
you're going out there and finding help,
going back to school, I'm looking for other jobs. What are you going for school, by the way? I'm getting my MBA with a concentration in business analytics.
That's cool.
That's a lot of fucking work, but it's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, like, from when I knew you, like, I mean, we've been talking here and there, kind of. Like, I can't believe we've seen each other in 3 years. That's insane.
I know, it's crazy.
It's just to be living in the same apartment complex.
Like, that, the type of person I am is, like, I haven't seen you in 3 years, but, like, I'm going to be nice to you, and I'm going to say hi to you, and I'm going to
be nice to me.
I'm like, mean, but, like, I don't just cut people off. I really don't. Like, it takes a lot for me to just be like, I'm done with
that. Same. I'm the same way too. And like, I'm a very just like, if people want to talk to me, be my friend, sure, I'm open. Like, I'm not gonna be a weirdo. And like, but for like when I was asking to be in my podcast, I was like, I don't know if she would say yes because we're not really like close or anything like that. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll ask. Worst thing she'll say is no, which is fine. Like, that's completely okay. So it's like, let me just throw it, because I've been trying like hardest to like just really just kind of just have courage and just go for it and just not care or like, you know, like I said, like at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Like be like, fuck you, Justine, like, you know what I mean? No, like I'm saying, like, honestly, I'm just the kind of person just like life's short, like, yeah. So I mean, it worked out. It is. I was like, I don't know, cause when you told me like this how this podcast happened was that I posted something and then you said, oh, that's so true. I had a friend that cut me off because of my mental health, and I was like, okay, that's fucked up and kind of wants something I want to put on the podcast.
With context, it makes more sense. It makes more sense. But she did. She was just like, I feel like she was basically like, I don't want to deal with your fucking bullshit anymore.
It's crazy.
Is fine, but at least say it.
True.
Just be like, Kathyrn, I know you are going through a lot right now. I just think it is best if I take a step back from our friendship. How hard is that?
Believe it or not, girl, like, especially like with your ex and this person, like, there's so many fucking cowards out in this world. Like, I've honestly, another thing too, I feel like, what's this girl? Where's she from? I'm curious.
She's from New York.
Oh, that's funny, because I was going to say, I'm like, usually like New York and New Jersey are very bold and very straightforward. So that's like really weird how but then again, like, I know people in Jersey who's like cowards too. But
I don't get it.
I feel like that's how you and I, like, we relate, is that we're just very like upfront with people. And I don't know, I feel like as long as you're respectful and you just have this conversation, like, there's just people out there who just, it's all about growth. You know what I mean? It's a growth thing. It's a personal development thing. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure probably back in my teenage life or whatever, I didn't know how to handle things and such. But I mean, it's just the way I think about, I don't know, the way I live my life, and I said this in my podcast multiple times, is like, worst case scenario is, the way I think about things is that life can suck and shit can happen. But at the end of the day, if I'm breathing and living a life, that's all that matters. Because I still have another chance to keep going.
And Kelly had a saying. It was, live life to the fullest and trust that God had a plan. Faith, family, and friends. So I have that 2 places in my house. That's the motto I try to live by. Like, it's like you said, like, life is too short to, like, fight with people. And at the time, like, when all of it, like, I just felt like everybody was trying to fight with me, and I didn't have any more fight to give. So when she cut me off, I was like, good. Yeah. Like, you don't want to be my friend?
Honestly, you don't want people like that in your life. Like, especially, like, if someone does that, it's like, why do you want that kind of person in your life? Like, the way I think about it sometimes is, like, I feel like it's so rare to find people like you who would just have that conversation, and are not cowards, because I've learned like there's so many freaking cowards out there in this world.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I don't like confrontation. It's not my favorite.
Well, no one likes it. No one's like, oh yeah, let's do it. It's just fun. Let's go for it. I've been taking pointers from. But like, no one likes confrontation.
Like, sure, I've unfollowed people on Instagram that I don't like. Call me a hypocrite, fine. But like those are people that, like, I'm not really close to. Like, I followed some girl like, if you're I'm not super close to her. She was talking shit about me, and I was like, fuck you, unfollow. Like, stuff like that. Like,
whatever.
I'm being childish. I own it, whatever. But, like, this girl, we were friends.
Like, friendship. How long are you guys friends for?
We were friends.
Do I know her? I don't know her, right?
No. We were friends for, like, 2.5, almost.
Oh my gosh, you guys were, like, you guys had, like, a decent friendship. Yeah. Like, it wasn't, like, someone that you just became friends with, and you guys been friends for like a couple of months, and she was like, no, so you guys were like friends for a decent amount of time. Like, were you guys have a friendship where you guys would like hang out maybe like once every like 6 months or like?
No.
And so it was like an actual like stable. Like, oh my god.
When we were playing softball, we would hang like, so I coached softball with her for a whole year, so that's how we got super close.
Yeah.
And then coaching was just too much, so then I just stopped. But we would see each other once a week when we were playing. And then, we would go grab a beer every once in a while. I've been to her house. I've watched her dog. Like, I don't know. It's just like, you think you know somebody, and then just to be cut off like that. And, like, I don't know what she's thinking either. She could have thought that I did something to her as well. But we will never know because we never talked about it. And, like, I miss her. And, like, sometimes I do think about reaching out to her. But at the same time, I'm like,
so worth it.
I don't give a shit.
That was probably like the best thing you just said on here. Like, I just don't.
It's really hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm in such a better place right now. Like, do I really want to bring something that was so negative back into my life.
See, I made that mistake with my ex, and that wasn't fun, but...
No, I always think, do you, like, make up scenarios in your head? Like, if you ever saw your ex out, like, I know exactly.
I made up a scenario, and then it happened in real life, and I got that closure that I needed, and it was fantastic, yeah.
No, and, like, so, I'm, like, into, like, psychics and shit like that, so my psychic said, you know, the best closure is no closure at all.
What?
And just because my psychic said it, I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. So I've had no closure from my ex. Like,
yeah, I mean, honestly, I had an ex when I was, like, 15. I know it sounds, like, stupid. Like, I mean, we did it for, like, a year, so it was, like, decent amount of, like, whatever. I was, like, 16. I had a brain at the time, so, but I never got that closure, and it took me so long to get over it.
Yeah.
But with this my last ex, the one that, like, dated a girl, like, literally right after me, he came back into my life, and he was trying to be my friend. And at first, I was like he was being respectful and everything like that, and in my head, I'm just like, what the heck? But also I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity to tell him how fucked up he was when he moved on. And we had something, like, we sat down, had a conversation about it.
I wish
he was willing to have that. Yeah, he was willing to have that conversation. I told him, I'm like, you really hurt me when you moved to that other girl, and like, and then
I wish it was like
that
too.
Yeah. So we had that, and I'm like, I give him props for that. And then, like, we're being friends and everything, and then he was telling me to move to my new apartment. I got, like, really drunk on, like, I don't know, on something. And then that conversation happened again, except, like, the unfiltered version came out, and I'm like, shit, I fucked up. But anyway,
it happens.
Yeah. So we were like attempting it, but then he hasn't reached out to me. He's, like, really randomly reached out to me, like, 3 times a week, just saying, hey, how's it going? Like, stuff like that. Like, nothing I mean, it was just, like, friendly. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like, trying to get back with me. Like, I think he was just trying. He also, like, his grandfather passed away, so he was, like, going through something, and I think he just wanted to appreciate the people who made an impact in his life. Like, it was a whole thing, and he's, like, a big Christian and everything. Yeah. And honestly, like, even though it was kind of a weird thing, like, I kind of am grateful for it, because I feel like I needed that closure. For me, like, now I feel nothing with this whole situation anymore. Like, I feel like I was really holding on to all of that negative energy, and how angry I was at him, and how, like, I was just kind of like, fuck everything. Like, yeah.
I just, like, I wish I got some sort of closure. I mean, with time comes some.
How long did you guys break up?
We broke up last August. Late August. Like 4 days
after. Oh, wow. Before me and my...
4 days after my birthday, you broke up with me.
Wait, so, like, before me and my ex broke up. We broke up in October.
Yeah.
We should, like, have a celebration or something.
I, like, burned most of it. Like, so we lived together, so...
Yeah.
He's an idiot. So she cut me off, and whatever. Like, I don't know how she's feeling about it. It's fine. Whatever. Like, you live and you learn. So, now, fast forward... Between therapy, my friends, and my family, like, I feel like I've come so far along. And this year hasn't all been shitty. Like, after my puppy died, I still really, really wanted a dog. So I rescued my little Paco.
Where is he?
He's sleeping on the couch.
He's so cute.
He's super cute. He's somewhat friendly.
He's adorable. Let me tell you, emotional support animal.
Yeah, so he is a small Chihuahua mix. He has made my life so much better. He's so cute. He's so fun. I did go back to work with Disney. I was furloughed for like 8 months. I was able to go back to work, so that was a really good thing. I started my MBA, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'm furthering my education. Dating is still, it's not an issue to me. Like,
as we said, it's just like they come great. If not, like, we're independent. We're good.
Like, sometimes dating gives me anxiety, but I also really like attention, which is very
someone who lives alone.
I know. Yeah, so I'm not super into dating right now. Do I like male attention? Yes. But
of course, who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. So it's been good.
I'm glad.
And I always take, these life lessons, I guess, that someone has thrown my way, whether it's God or whoever, with a grain of salt, because I know, like, it's been a shitty year.
Yeah.
It has. But I feel like I've you know, you live and you learn, and I'm so much better now, and I'm glad I'm not in that relationship anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not glad that some of my friendships ended, but you know, if that
it's just how it is, that's just life.
Yeah, if that's what I needed to help me change and help me grow, then so be it. Like,
yeah, and people come in and out of your life like that. Honestly, like, it's sad that it happens, but it's just, I just understand it's part of life. I mean, the people that will probably hurt when it comes, like, out of my life, it's, like, probably, like, my parents or my sister, or, like, you know, just, like, the really close, like, family, like, that would hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have some really good friends in my life, and they are out of my life. That would be obviously upsetting. So anyone who's my good friend, like, don't take that to heart or anything like that. But pretty much moral of the story is just that I just understand that people just come and go, and they teach you lessons, and that's it. And that's just how life is. I mean, it's sad, but we just got to move on.
Exactly.
And it just, honestly, like, what you went through, it's crazy what you went through. Yeah. I'm here talking about my double of a week, and I'm like, that is nothing compared to what you did. Yeah, like, that's insane. Like, that's crazy, because, like, you just dealt with so many different, like, people passing away, breakups, and, like, horrible friends, and, like, it's insane.
It was
like,
tough.
And I had no idea you were going through any of that.
Well, like, I try, like, I'm not shy about it. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I pretty much tell people exactly how I'm feeling. Like, so people close to me knew, but I don't, and people probably can relate to this. They don't like to burden people with their shit. Yeah. And I especially, like, I always apologize to my one friend. I'm like, I'm really sorry that I keep bringing this up. Like, I feel like it's such a burden on you. And she's like, no, that's what friends do. Friends don't feel burden. And so.
No, it's true. That's another thing, too. Like, I was on this person's podcast, and I was explaining how, like, my ex, he felt that I was being too much. And then my friend, the person who was interviewing me was like, and he wasn't really, you know, that wasn't meant to be, because if they were your real, like, person, like, partner, like, there's never an amount of time that you're going to feel burdened. I mean, you're human. Obviously, it's you're going to feel the energy. It's going to be hard. But at the end of the day, they're going to be there for you. And, like, that was, I mean, like I said, I mean, if you need anybody, I'm here. Like,
Thankfully, like, I have a lot of great people in my life. You included. I'm really glad that
I'm back in your life.
I know. I'm really glad that we
we were kind of like we still would, like, interact. You would just randomly message me at work, like, just a random work question.
I have a ticket question.
Just a random thing. I was like, wait. It was just so random. I was like, I haven't spoken to her in, like, a year. I have a ticket question. I have a client. I'm like,
but you always knew the answer, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm here to help.
Really going to the right person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think 27 is my year. Like,
27?
When I turn 27. Oh,
I was like, the year 2027?
That is going to be my
26 right now?
I'm 26.
Oh, you're 26.
Kind of like 25 and 3/4 and 26 have been fairly shitty, but I'm pretty sure 27 is going to be great.
Yeah, and honestly, just put it out there in the universe, and it's going to be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The vibes. The vibes are going.
Think about it like this. As part of my podcast, all of this.
You have known me, like, I've saged this house, like, so many times for bad energy. Like, get this shit out. Like, well, I need some good luck. I don't even know if it's luck anymore. But.
Honestly, though, like, with everything you went through, it's just really hard to get through something like that. Like, you never, like, you handled it pretty well. I mean, I wasn't there when you actually were physically going through everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like you went through it really well, and, like, you came out as a badass. So
I hope so. I'm trying to be a badass.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's what I think about, is that you came out of all this craziness as a badass, and I really do appreciate you being on my podcast.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
No, seriously, and like I said, like, thank you so much for being on my podcast. Do you want me to put your stuff in my bio, like your Insta, or you don't want random people following you?
I guess you can, yeah. I mean, I'm on private, so.
Okay. Well, if you wanna follow Kathyrn, I will put her Instagram in my bio. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. And again, thanks again. And we will. I don't even know what to say. See you, hear you, beat me.
See you next time.
See you next time. Not even seeing, like, not even seeing it. It's audio. Like, I will catch you later.